0.8 seconds. That's the record that Victor Marks holds for disarming someone who has a gun pointed at his head. What makes that timing remarkable, and what makes that record remarkable beyond the sheer speed, is what motivated him to become the fastest man on Earth to disarm someone of a weapon. Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette. This is my channel, Evolve with Monette. For those of you that are new here, I'm a professional intuitive empath, so good sharing energy with you. Come on in. Thank you for inviting me in. If you're interested in working with me, talk to your angels first. Always ask them. You can find my information in the description box below. We don't often look like what we've been through. That's something that empaths and earth angels have said to them often. We carry ourselves with a sunny disposition, and this man, a walking earth angel, a badass ex-Marine, thank you for your service, sir, and a 7th, 8th degree black belt, amongst many other accolades, all having interestingly to do with protection, he does not look like what he's been through. He is fast, super fast. And in the interest of turning my doom scrolling into output and content, my angels have challenged me that when I get the lesson to transmute it and teach it. And today's short lesson is brought to you by trauma. It's brought to you by pain. It's brought to you by terror. It's brought to you by abuse. It's brought to you by the things that you were sworn to secrecy about, the things that quietly, corrosively shaped you. Trigger warning, pun intended, no pun intended. This may be applicable to some of you. But there's a hero here who, out of his own fear, turned that abuse and those moments into magic, speed, efficiency, protection, and now tutelage for the masses. That's how you transmute that scorpionic energy, death, rebirth, and transformation. The thing that was meant to be your degradation and also your dismantling. Now he shows how to dismantle someone who thinks that it's fun because they're the rabbit with the gun. When Victor was asked about why he became so quick, not on the draw, but on the disarm, it was just a moment. Here's this big man, 6-something, not lumbering in a bad way, but like a jolly green giant in a happy way. Big smile. He's looking at you, smiling. Before you know it, the weapon in your hand is now in his possession. And he's either facing away from you or facing you directly. Now you're looking down the barrel of the thing you once held. They asked him, what motivated you to get so fast at the skill? And he hadn't really put it together until he did, because that's what we do, including not looking like what we've been through. He said he remembered the tapping of a weapon at his temple repeatedly when his stepfather would threaten him, and he would say, if you tell about what I've done to you, I will not only blow you away, I will lay the gun down beside you and said you did it to yourself, that you unalived yourself while playing with my weapon. The gun will be beside you before the police get here. And from the manure of his churned fear, he said, one day I'll be so fast, I'll be able to take any gun away. For Victor Marks, learning how to disarm someone wasn't child's play. It was a fantasy of survival. to help push his trauma away, to help keep those monsters and those memories and his stepfather at bay. And he thought, if I could just be fast enough. It's a funny thing, a thing we've all fantasized about if we've been abused to any degree as a child. If I could have just been an adult enough, if I could have been strong enough, if I could have said this more, if I could have just quickly turned this on its heel, then I would never have to endure what I did that made me feel not real, that made me disassociate, that made me float above my body in order to survive, that made me have to take years of therapy before I could integrate my abuse and trauma into my life and understand why it caused me to be avoidant, attached, style, and or codependent, and or fill in the blank. But it started with something that was dark and dank. And for Victor, he transmuted that toxicity, that fear, that helplessness he felt as a child into a pedigree, into awards, into accolades, into respect. He went into the toughest branch of the military. The Marines are at your neck. Hoorah! Semper Fi. He learned martial arts. But the thing that took root and the thing that's played the biggest part in why we know his name today is because someone, an adult that was there to protect him, that was supposed to love him, took his autonomy and his humanity away. The consistent thudding of the metal chamber, the barrel at his head, the threats that before he was dead, the gun would be at his side where he bled. It's diabolical. And what he did with that is turned it into something that not only earns him respect, but helps him to go back and protect that little boy that wasn't strong enough to disarm his stepfather of that weapon. The things we have gone through, Empath, we don't look like what we've been through. And when you see him smiling, and you see him teaching, and you see him, it's not until that moment, and I'll include the short that inspired this short lesson today. You can see it come over his face, the flashback. And if you've ever been there, wherever there is for you, you know what that kind of abuse can do. And you know what those threats can do and how it cripples you. And you can't do anything. And you feel helpless. And you feel like a kid again. And you're triggered. Ironically, he turned his trigger into his greatest asset, to his greatest achievement. Because every time he takes a gun out of someone's hand, some man's hand, some woman's hand, he is standing up for the little kid in him that was so desperate to be a man just so that he could protect himself, so that his stepfather couldn't make that promise come true, that the police would say, "It wasn't me, son, it was you." We don't look like what we've been through. People question why I teach the way I teach, and why it's always about something traumatic or narcissistic abuse. Well, we teach what we know. And how fortunate for those of us here that haven't been through some of the things that we did that helped us to grow or that hindered our growth, because abuse stymies your growth. It changes your brain chemistry. He fantasized over and over again about a different way that it could be until he turned into a man that could set his internal child free. That's so powerful. So today, I speak this over you metaphysically, metaphorically, spiritually, and actually. You are set free from whatever abuse was lobbed on you by someone who was supposed to protect and love you. You learned how to disarm anyone that comes near you You've learned how to do no harm to the inner child that still resides in you. You've started to love you. You are grown now. You can protect you. You don't look like empath, what you've been through. Victor Marx was dispatched in today to remind you that the thing that was designed to break you is the thing that actually made you into the person you are today, so that you know how to keep abuse and all harm, no matter what it looks like or what form it comes in, at bay. You didn't call it in and you don't deserve it, but somehow the universe has allowed it to happen so that you could become safe. You could teach yourself safety out of the degradation of the abuse and the place that you used to be. Take a look at yourself today in the mirror. Give yourself an emotional hug. Tell your adult self thank you for protecting your younger self in the best way that you could, with what you had, with the tools that you knew. Forgive yourself because you were just a kid. Forgive yourself because maybe you didn't always get it right as you grew up and had to learn how to live. And congratulate yourself because you don't look like what you've been through. No one would even know that you have been through it because you've gotten so good at protecting you. I know it and you know it. And today I say thank you to Victor Marx, who took the time to show it, what that looks like. Sometimes the thing that was created to dismantle us is the thing that helps us be right in the end. That helps us to grow and helps us to no longer pretend. We don't have to make believe. We don't have to disassociate. We can integrate what happened then and where we are today and look ourselves in the mirror in the face and say, I didn't ask for this, but if it had to be this way, I did the best I could with whatever abuse, degradation, and hate was put on my plate, and I transmuted it into something of note, something worthy. I am worthy. I learned something about me and about what people call humanity. And I learned how to protect myself from danger, as it always should be. So good sharing energy with you guys today. Come back and join me next time. We'll continue to evolve together.